Oh, it's you, Doctor. Good evening.
I'm sorry to have to disturb you, Doctor, but we simply couldn't make Georgiana hear the bell.
That's quite all right, my dear. Georgiana's becoming careless. Very careless.
Yes, I've noticed that, too. In my opinion, she has nagana. That's sleeping sickness. You know the symptoms, Doctor. At first, I thought it was creeping paralysis, so I stuck a pin in her leg to see. And there was a splendid reaction of the reflex motor nerve.
Why, Auntie.
You're shocked. So is she.
Won't you join me in some coffee?
Yes, thanks, Doctor. We will. There are a few questions I'd like to ask you.
About blood and murders and vampires, I suppose.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Oh, so am I. Well, good night. If such a thing is possible, I'm going to bed.
Won't you join us too, Frau Schnappmann?
Coffee at this hour of the night? No, thank you. I'm going to stick to my monacid esters and the salic salad. Acid, Doctor, acid. Good night.
What's the news in the village, Carl? Have they located Herman yet?
No, not a trace of him. I hate to think of that poor misfit being hunted down like a dog. Do you know, I simply can't bring myself to believe in that vampire theory.
Will you pour, Ruth?
Certainly.
I know, Carl. Our saner, calmer judgment tells us that such things can't be, and yet, here, for instance, in this ponderous tome, are cited 1,001 phobias and complexes that human beings are heir to. Some of them are strange, more untenable even than werewolves and vampires. Could I have some more, please?
You drink entirely too much coffee.
Well, it's my one weakness. And also my excuse for tolerating Georgiana's laxity and other things. She does know how to make good coffee. Thank you. She brings it to me every night at exactly 10 o'clock. And when I've drunk it all, then I know it's time to quit.
Yes, and eat breakfast so you can have more coffee.
Oh.
Georgiana, you mustn't lie like that. You'll get yourself a tart of cola. No, sit next. Georgiana.
That was Auntie. Auntie!
Oh, no, baby. I'm all right. I'm all right now. Oh, it's so
Amy, help Frau Schnappmann to her room.
That's silly imagination. I mentioned that, George.
The same 2 wounds, Doctor.
And my last words to her were angry ones. A petulant reprimand for being late with my coffee.
What time is that?
About 2 or 3 minutes after 10.
She's been dead then about 45 minutes. Bloodless like the rest. It passes all belief. Ruth's aunt saw Herman Gleib in the garden this morning. Could it be that he... You were the first one here. What happened?
I was in my room reading. My door was open. I must have dozed off for a minute or so because I awoke to hear Frau Schnappmann scream.
You say your door was open?
Yes, my room is very poorly ventilated.
And you saw nothing? Heard nothing unusual?
Nothing.
Carl,
What is it?
this crucifix belonged to Martha. See who it is, Emil.
Can you positively identify this as belonging to Martha?
Without a doubt. I saw it in her room the night she died.
How in the world did it get here?
Herman Gleib was in her room. He had that crucifix in his hands. And Herman was here today.
Maybe here now, for all we know.
Who is it?
Oh.
Oh,
How is she?
she's had a real shock this time, but she'll be all right. I'm putting her to bed.
Leave her there. Don't let her out of this room. And don't you leave it either.
Well, what do you mean?
It looks as if Herman Gleib is the killer after all. It's possible he may be hiding here in the castle.
Well, what makes you think so?
I'll tell you later. Stay in your room and keep your door locked.
Don't worry about that.
I heard every word he said, and I don't think there's any use of them searching for Herman. They should look for a dog, a human-faced dog.
Andy, the doors and windows are all locked. There's nothing to be afraid of now.
Well, who said I was afraid? I'm not a bit afraid.
No, of course you're not afraid, but you must get some rest.
Rest in this awful place with dog-faced Herman.
They're not dogs, and they're not men. These are the werewolves.
And human-faced bats and blood and murders and vampires.
Find anything, Carl?
There's an unbroken cobweb in that window. If Herman did it, he came through the door.
He must have. And yet I don't understand how he could find his way up here without us hearing him. Yet Amy was asleep, and I was in the library. Yes, he could have done it. The facts all point to it. What was it, Emil?
The Burgermeister. He has news for Herr Brettschneider about Herman.
Oh.
Pardon the intrusion, Doctor. Pardon the intrusion. I knew Carl was here, and I thought you wouldn't mind if I ran in to tell him the news.
About Herman?
Yes. He fell into the Devil's Well in the cave.
He's dead?
Dead as a doornail. This ends our troubles, Carl. The vampire's dead. I can feel it in my bones.
Well, your bones may be wrong. What time did this happen?
Quite early, about 9 o'clock. The cave is nearly 2 hours from here. That's why we didn't hear it sooner.
Well, it may interest you to know that there's been another death after your vampire died.
Who?
Dr. von Niemann's housekeeper. Right here in her own room.
Mother of mercy. What are we going to do?
But a natural death wouldn't kill a vampire, Carl. You know the accepted theory. A stake driven through the heart.
Oh, yes, that's the theory, all right.
But...
What?
But they did. They drove a stake through his heart.
Good God, are we living in the Middle Ages?
It wasn't through my sanction, Carl. Massawa did it. He told me so himself.
Well, that ends the vampire theory as far as I'm concerned. Herman Gleib died in the accepted fashion for killing a vampire. Oh, no, there's some human agency at work here, Doctor. A madman who kills to satisfy some violent, sadistic urge.
Yes, you're right, Carl. I've been a fool, a superstitious fool.
Did they leave his body in the cave?
Yes. Yes, they did.
Well, in view of what's happened, don't you think you owe him a decent burial?
You're right. In view of what has happened, we do owe him that, Carl. I'll see to it at once, this very instant. And I'll make arrangements for Georgiana's removal to the morgue. Good night, Doctor. Pardon the intrusion.
Good night, Gustav.
Pardon the intrusion.
Well, here I am, just where I started weeks ago. There isn't a single theory that doesn't lead straight into a stone wall. I've jested about this vampire business because my better judgment told me it was a lot of nonsense. Then I reached the point where I was willing to accept even that, because it seemed to satisfy the equation.
All of us are a bit superstitious.
I don't know which way to turn, where to look, what to look for. Why should anyone want human blood? Why? Why?
Calm yourself, Carl.
Calm myself. Calm myself. With all these unsolved murders staring me in the face and no solution in sight? How much blood is there in the human body, Doctor?
About 6 liters, approximately.
Can you think of any purpose for which that amount of blood might be used?
No. Not even in transfusion.
That's the point which stops me. There isn't any other use for human blood. Murderers leave clues. And these atrocities are murders, Doctor. Those simple fools in the village can believe what they like, but you and I are sane, thinking people. And you know and I know, Doctor, that these are murders. The last one was done here. In this very house, right under this roof. All right, I'll start here. I'm going over every foot of this place, both inside and out. Nobody, sane or insane, is clever enough to get away with murder without leaving a clue of some sort. And I'm going to find that clue.
Oh, come, Carl. You mustn't let your nerves run away with you. Here. These will help to give you a good night's sleep. If there are any clues, they'll be here in the morning when your nerves are calm and your mind is clear. Take my advice and go home and rest.
I imagine 1,000 demons were after me as I came down those stairs.
Ruth, didn't I tell you to stay in your room?
Yes, but I wanted the doctor to come up and quiet Auntie. You know, it isn't her imagination this time.
Of course, Ruth, I'll come right away. Take my advice, young man. Go home and go to bed.
Good night, Carl.
Good night, Ruth.
Good night, Carl.
Good night, Doctor.
I'm so confused. First, it's a vampire movie, then a mad scientist movie, now it's a mystery. Oh well. Back to a vampire bat after this.